لم ترى وهي ترسف في سجود وهي ترسف في سجود
لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا.
الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وعلى من تمسك بسنته بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تبارك وتعالى، وخير الهدى هدى رسول الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه، وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Brothers, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to deal with a topic today that we are all in need of, this particular dhikr, myself included, because there is not a single person who is here except that he needs to know what Al-Islam has said and how Al-Islam has shown each and every individual how to go about perfecting one's character. How to go about perfecting one's character. There's not a single person who is in this masjid right now except that he has some problems in his character, who he is as a human being. There are those of us who are very impatient. There are those of us who we have a lot of kalam kathir. There are those of us who are liars. There are those of us who are not trustworthy. There are those of us who are not fair and just. There are those of us who have issues, and every single individual here, wherever you're looking, to the right, to the left, behind you, every single human being in this masjid, he has some issues as it relates to his character that need to be taken care of and sought after. And we believe that the people of the masjid, the people who come to the masajid and they pray, they are those people who try their best to recognize what is their personality defect that needs to be worked on. So that's the people who are here today, inshallah. So there are some things that Al-Islam has shown and told us that we can do and we need to do in order to perfect our character. And when we talk about the perfection of the character, it should be made clear that the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa radiyallahu anhum, they were people just like us. In some instances, they were worse than us. I don't think there's anyone from amongst us who his wife carried her child for 9 months, delivered the child. When he found it was a baby girl, he took the child and put the child under the dirt and buried the child alive. There were people who were like that from the companions. They had no rahmah. Some of them. The man would say to you from the companions during that time, before he embraced Al-Islam, hey, you're a traveler, you're a visitor, okay, I'm going to invite you to a great big feast today. Come over to my tent tonight at sundown, and we're going to make a big fire for you, and we're going to slaughter the biggest sheep that we own. And then when you go expecting to eat the sheep, they take you and put you into slavery and sell you off to a caravan, never to see your children again, never to see your relatives again. There were those from amongst them who trafficked. They were trafficking in prostitution, and that was mentioned in the Quran. There were those from amongst them who were highway robbers. They murdered people unjustly. They were people who sold khamr. They were drug dealers. Khamr. They used to sell khamr. But when they embraced the religion of Islam, Allah Azza wa Jal described them in the Quran in so many ayat of having the good character. The good character. When the companions didn't deal with a group of people who were not understanding Islam very well, Allah reminded them, كَذَلِكَ كُنْتُم مِّن قَبْلُ فَمَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ. You companions, you used to be like these people before, but Allah favored you. So don't treat them like that. كنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فانقذكم منها. You people used to be on the brink of the hellfire, and Allah saved you from that. So as we sit here, don't think that it is far off or it's impossible that we can't become people who perfect those deficiencies in our character. The companions were like that. Allah mentioned them in the Quran after them being a group of people who had no mercy on the creation or on each other. Allah described them, Muhammad Rasulullah walladhina ma'ahu ashidda'u al-kuffar ruhama'u baynahum. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and those companions who were with them, who used to bury their daughters and they used to kill each other and they used to not have mercy upon each other, they are ruhama between themselves. They are rough and tough against kufr. They don't look at kufr as being a small issue. They were shadeed against al-kufr in all of its shapes and its forms and its manifestations. But they were ruhama between themselves. They had rahmah. So Allah described them in this ayat as people who perfected their character as it relates to having rahmah. Having rahmah is from the good akhlaq. Allah described them in the Quran when He said about them, فِيهِ رِجَالٌ يُحِبُّونَ أَن يَتَطَهَّرُوا وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ مُتَّهِّرِينَ. In that masjid, there are a group of men. Allah described them as men. From the good character is to be a man. You may be 30, 35, 40, but your afkar, how you think and how you behave, is still the thinking of a child. Allah described them with rajula. They are men. In that masjid are men who love to be purified. And Allah loves those who are purified. So from having a good akhlaq is having a tahara. The Muslim woman who reverts to al-Islam, the Muslim woman who's a wife or a mother who does not keep her house clean, that's from the bad akhlaq. That's from the bad character. At-tahur shatrul iman. Purification is half of the deen. So Allah described those companions in that ayah as being men. People who take care of forming for themselves a place to pray, forming for themselves a place to educate their children. They preoccupy themselves with the higher, more exalted affairs in the dunya, not like the little children. So that was after they embraced al-Islam. So in dealing with the issue of al-akhlaq, there are two types of character. There is the akhlaq al-mahmuda, the akhlaq that is praiseworthy, and the akhlaq that is madhmuma, the one that is blameworthy. So every praiseworthy akhlaq, its antithesis is blameworthy. So from the good akhlaq, al-akhlaq al-mahmuda, and there are many, is as-sidq. And every good character proves the iman of an individual. And every bad character trait proves some naqs or some deficiency in his iman. From the good akhlaq is as-sidq, being truthful. Being an individual who will say the truth whether it is for you or against you. Those three incidents in which the three cases where we're allowed to lie, he lies in those cases if he has to. Other than that, he's truthful. That's from the good akhlaq. And that good akhlaq, that trait, it proves the iman of a person. And it proves the quwwah of his shakhsiyah. In that he tells the truth whether it's for him or against him. In essence, he's saying, I'm not afraid of you. People who lie, they are afraid, so they lie. The one who has sidq, as-sadiq, he tells the people what he believes because he's only afraid of Allah. And it's from the good akhlaq. Inna sidq yahdi ila al-birr, wa inna al-birr yahdi ila al-jannah. وَإِنَّ الرَّجُلَ لَا يَصْدِقُ حَتَّى يُكْتَبَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ صَدِّيقًا. Verily, truthfulness, it will lead you and guide you to righteousness, and righteousness will lead you to Jannah. A man will continue to tell the truth and speak the truth until Allah writes him down and records him as a Siddiq. And in contrast, إِنَّ الْكَذِبَ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْفُجُورِ وَإِنَّ الْفُجُورَ يَهْدِي إِلَى النَّارِ وَإِنَّ الرَّجُلَ لَيَكْذِبْ حَتَّى يُكْتَبَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ كَذَّابًا. Lying leads to fujur. It leads to a lot of other evil things other than just lying. And verily, fujur leads to the hellfire. A man will not cease to be a liar until Allah writes him down as a kadhab. So that's from the good akhlaq. From the good akhlaq, ikhwan, is the silatul rahm, connecting your ties of relationship. Again, it proves your iman, especially when those people cut you off. The brother, he's from the Asian community. He met a sister who's a revert. He married the sister who's a revert. She was a Sikh. She was a British girl. His family cut him off. He shouldn't have married that girl like that. He should have went through the right channels. He should have tried to convince his family. Don't make fitna that you can't handle. But nonetheless, it's done. His father cuts him off and says, don't send me any pictures. If you have a baby, I'm sending the pictures back. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to talk to you. He continues to connect. He continues to connect. Why? Because he has iman that Allah Azza wa Jalla has made this an obligation upon him. So in essence, he's saying, I'm doing this actually for my own self. I know Allah sees me. That's from the good akhlaq. From the akhlaq al-mahmuda is a sabr. A sabr. Having patience. Having patience on the fitna or the musibah that has befallen you. You lost a mother, a father, a child, your job. Having sabr on the fitna. Every single person here is going to be tried. Every year there is a trial. The vast majority of us right now are going through a trial. Right now. You have to have sabr. It is from the good akhlaq. The man is stuck in this country and he can't get back to his people because he's studying and he has serious problems in his country. He has to have sabr. The man is married, but he's married to a woman who may not be religious, or he's married to a woman, it was a planned, arranged marriage and they're not compatible. He has to have sabr. Especially during this time, the time where it's hard to be religious because we have so many things around us inviting us to be irreligious people. Al-Imam al-Tirmidhi rahimahullah ta'ala brought in his book of a hadith on the authority of Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu. And this hadith is from the thulathiyat of Al-Imam al-Tirmidhi. The hadith al-thulathi. What is the hadith al-thulathi? It is the hadith in which you find the author of the book, Al-Imam al-Bukhari, Al-Imam Muslim, Abu Dawood, Al-Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, Al-Nasa'i, Al-Imam Ahmed, Al-Imam Malik. You will find the author of the book given a hadith in which in the chain of narration there are only 3 people between Al-Imam al-Bukhari and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's the Shaykh of Al-Tirmidhi and the Shaykh of his Shaykh and then the companion and then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the hadith that the people used to look for with the Sinat Ali. Only 3 people between Al-Imam al-Tirmidhi and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In his book Al-Imam al-Tirmidhi, he brought the hadith of Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu. He said that Rasulullah says salawatullahi wassalamuhu alayhi, ya'ti ala al-nasi zamanun as-sabiru minhum kal-qabid ala al-jamr. The time is going to come on the people in which the one who has patience from amongst them is like the one who is holding on to a hot coal. He has to have sabr. In order to be religious in this time, he has to have sabr. And Rasulullah likened it to holding a hot coal. The coal is burning through his skin, it's burning through his bones, he's smelling it, he's seeing the fire, but he has to hold on because this is my deen. I'm not going to sell my deen. During this time, that's how it is if you want to be religious. When you go into the meeting, the lady's going to put her hand out to shake your hand. No, I'm going to hold on to this coal before I touch you, because the coal is better for me than that. So as-sabr is from the makaram al-akhlaq. There are a few things that we need to know, ikhwan, before we even tell you about some of the things that you can do. The 8 or 9 or 10 things that the Quran and the Sunnah and the ulama of this ummah from the past and present have given us as it relates to systematic, pragmatic things that you and I can do to get rid of the negative character traits that we have. Someone has anger management problems. When he gets with his friends, he is a funny guy, he has a nice sense of humor, he's easygoing, but when he goes into the home, he never laughs with his wife. He's rough with his wife. His child makes a mistake and knocks the drink over and it spills onto the carpet, and he hits the child in the nose and he breaks his nose, breaks the collarbone. He has anger management problems. Terrible character trait. Other people, they have those characters, when you meet them, they clash. It's very difficult for people to get along with them. They clash with you, just the nature, the way they are. They say the wrong thing, and they deal with people the wrong way. People are like that. How do we go about changing these character traits, whatever they may be? And everyone has some. He smokes cigarettes, bad character trait. He overeats, he eats too much. She sleeps too much. She gets up in the morning for Salatul Fajr, she prays Salatul Fajr 2 rakas, that's it, and she jumps back into the bed. She prays them very quickly to say, I prayed them. That's the woman, our wife. But there are many men like that as well. At least I pray them. He gets up, he prays the 2 rakas, makes wudu, prays them very, qul huwa Allahu ahad, what else? He jumps back in the bed and he says, I prayed them. Is that the salat that Allah Azza wa Jal wanted from you? Even if you didn't come to the masjid, what's wrong with praying 2 easy rakat? Wait for the sunnah prayers, easy, calm, and then 2 more easy, calm, gentle rakat for fajr. Is laziness. He gets in the bed and he sleeps all morning. He doesn't get a job, he doesn't want a job, he wants to rely on the welfare. That's a bad character trait. Laziness. Laziness. He teaches his sons how to be lazy. Teaches his wife, I'm a lazy man, you married a lazy man, a bum. All bad character traits. How do we go about changing those? Before we get into that, we have to share with you this point. The character trait can be acquired in 2 ways. The first way that it could be acquired is as a mawhiba min Allah. Allah just gives it to you as a gift. It's natural. It's jabilli. Allah just gives it to the individual. He just blesses you with it. It's a ni'mah from Allah. He makes you a person who's calm. He makes you a person who's quiet. He makes you a person who has hikmah. He makes you a person who's truthful. He'll even give it to kuffar. Even some kuffar have this. وَمِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ مَنْ تَأْمَنْهُ بِقِنْطَارٍ يُؤَدِّيهِ إِلَيْكَ. From Ahlul Kitab are those people, if you gave them a whole hoard of treasure, they'll give it right back to you. From Ahlul Kitab are those people who are Christians who cry when they think about Allah. They have good character traits. Trustworthy. I'm going to meet you at that time. They meet you at that time. You work with the non-Muslim. He knows you only eat halal. He knows you don't eat McDonald's. He knows that you don't eat KFC. He knows you only eat halal. That guy brings you a tuna fish sandwich. Say, I brought tuna today. I brought this sandwich for you. He has karam, even generosity, consideration. So one way of getting good character is Allah gives it to you. Al-Imam al-Khatib al-Baghdadi, no woman has given birth to a man after Khatib al-Baghdadi's mother gave birth to him similar to him. Wallahu a'lam. He has a lot of tremendous books in ilm al-hadith. A lot of tremendous books. One of his books is called Tariq Baghdad. Our Baghdad, that they went to steal the money from, that they went to kill the Muslims in. the one that now there's so much confusion. Once they remove the oppressive leader and there's no real leader, now it's confusion over there, our Baghdad. Al-Imam Khatib al-Baghdadi, he wrote that book. That book is talking about the history of every scholar who entered into Baghdad. Whether he was born there, whether he came to get knowledge there, whether he visited there, whether he only went there for a short time, he gave his autobiography. And in that book, ikhwan, are ahadith that you can't find in the Kutub al-Sitta. So that's why the student of knowledge, ikhwan, he knows that the Islamic library is like an ocean that has no shores. You have to continue to buy books and buy books and buy books and buy books, because you can never ever ever acquire all of the books that you need. In this particular book, Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi, he brought the narration, a number of narrations, but the hadith of Al-Imam Al-Ashaj Al-Asri radiyallahu anhu, from the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This hadith also is collected by Imam al-Bukhari in his Adab al-Mufrad. Al-Adab al-Mufrad. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was visited by this man, Al-Ashaj Al-Asri, and his tribe. Rasulullah sat and he was watching this man, Al-Ashaj, watching how he carried on and how he dealt with his companions, how he interacted with them. After some time, he told him, Ashaj, ta'al, come here, sit down. He told him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, inna fika khaslatayn yuhibbuhum Allah, al-hil wal-anat. Qala al-Ashaj, ya Rasulullah, hadithan kana fiya aw qadima? Qala sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, bal قديما. قال الأشج الحمد لله الذي جبلني على خلقين يحبهما. He said, Ya Ashaj, you have two characteristics that Allah loves. Allah loves in a way, akramakullah, Allah loves in a way that befits His Majesty. His love is not the way we love. It's complete, it's perfect, but He loves in a way that befits His Majesty. Allah sees in you two characteristics that He loves. You have the characteristic of al-hil, you're easygoing. You're halim, you're gentle. You deal with the people with a gentleness. You're not mutashaddid. Allah loves that. And you have al-anat. Al-anat means you're not mustajil, you're not in haste. You're not like the young people who feel, oh, I married the girl and all her life she wasn't wearing hijab. All her life she wasn't practicing Islam. All her life she wasn't praying. All her life this has been the way she is. So now that you marry her, you cannot change her overnight. Take it easy. Allah loves al-anat. Your father, your mother, they've been doing this all their life. Ya Rasulullah, Ya Muhammad, take it easy. So Ashaj said, Ya Rasulullah, those two traits that I have in me, have they been in me for a long time, or are they newly inside of me, something that I've acquired after Islam? He said, no, you've had these for a long time. Naturally you're like that. He said, alhamdulillah, who put in me these two traits that He loves. So a person can, or he just gives, Allah gives it. He is Al-Wahhab. So this is a mohiba from the word Al-Wahhab. Allah bestowed it upon him. In some of the books, ikhwan, in Al-Islam, those of you who read, when Al-Imam, Amirul Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, when he's mentioned in those books, radiyallahu anhu, some of the ulama of the sunnah, they say about Ali, instead of saying radiyallahu anhu, they say karramallahu wajhahu. How many people read that or heard that? They say karramallahu wajhahu. May Allah give the takreem to His face. We should stay away from that statement, because that is from the people who go overboard in Ali. We should not go overboard in Ali. If we were going to go overboard in any companion, it would be Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. If anyone deserved to be said, karram Allahu wajhu, only for him. All of the other companions we say radiallahu anhu. But this one we say karram Allahu wajhu. We will leave that for Abu Bakr because he's the best of the companions after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's the best of this ummah. Not only that, as we mentioned before, after the Anbiya and the Rasul, salawatullah wa salamu alayhim ajma'een, they had companions. Abu Bakr is the best human being after the Anbiya and the Rasul, radiyallahu anhu. So when you ask the people, why do you say karram Allahu wajhahu ta'ali? They say, because his face never made sajda to a sanam, to an idol. And that's true. He embraced Islam when he was young. Some scholars say he was the first person to embrace Islam, even before Khadija. But he is not the only one who that was his characteristic. Abu Bakr never made sajda to a sanam. Uthman never made sajda to a sanam. Zayd ibn Amr, Waraqa ibn Nawfal, radiyallahu anhum ajma'een. So we should not say karram Allahu wajhuhu. The point from all of that is, ikhwan, prior to embracing Islam, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, those people were on a level of akhlaq. Rasulullah was on a level of akhlaq. He came to Aisha radiallahu anha and told her about Jibril coming to him telling him, Iqra. She said, no, you're not Majnoon, that's going to happen. You feed the poor, you take care of your relatives, you this, you that. He had the good akhlaq. They called him Al-Amin. Allah gave it to him. So that's the first way. The second way is by acquiring the akhlaq. From the tariq al-muktasaba. You have to go out to acquire it. And that's what most of us have to do. The person who's stingy, he has to acquire how not to be stingy, how to be generous, how to be considerate. To go out and acquire it. The Prophet said in an authentic hadith, as I mentioned, that has been collected by Imam al-Khatib al-Baghdadi on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, إنما العلم بالتعلم والحلم بالتحلم ومن يتحرى خيرا يعطى ومن يتوقى شرا يوقى. Verily, knowledge comes by going out and acquiring it. From the best akhlaq is al-ilm, to have knowledge. And that knowledge shows you and navigates you how to act. Verily, knowledge is by going out and getting it. And hilm, being halim, comes as a result of cultivating it, creating it within yourself. Whoever goes out and he looks for good, he will be given that good. Whoever goes out to avoid evil, he will be protected from the evil. So that's from the clear adillah to show that a person has the ability to acquire this good akhlaq. Last point, ikhwan, that you need to know about the akhlaq. We'll go into those issues. What are the things that you can do from the kitab and the sunnah to change that character trait that you have that you don't like about yourself? There are many. Number one, and this has to be number one, because without this one, you will never change your akhlaq. And that is, first of all, you have to believe that you can change. You have to buy into that idea. And you cannot have the defeated mentality that, as some people say, you cannot teach an old dog new tricks. I've been doing this all my life. I've been smoking since I was 17. I'm 45 now. I can't stop smoking. That's his excuse. The sister reverts to Al-Islam, or she wasn't practicing. She found Al-Islam recently, born, raised as a Muslim, but she's been independent all her life. All of her natural life, she's been independent as an adult. She gets married now to a religious brother, and the religious brother knows about the deen, and he says, sister, I have huquq over you, serious rights. And you can't have this mentality of being independent like that. The type of woman who, when you want to marry her, she has her own apartment. She has her own flat. So you want to marry her and you want her to come? She said, no, no, no. You leave your flat, come live with me. So if we get divorced, you're getting out. That's how we have some women like that, independent. She has to now change that akhlaq. She says, I've been like this all my life. I've never depended, I've never relied on a man, and I'm not going to start now. Or she gives her husband some lit, bad character. She says, this is just how I am. I can't change. She says that to her friends. Well, I have a good husband and I love him. And I know it's me. I just can't change. I've been doing it for a long time. You'll never stop smoking. You'll never change if you say and you believe that way. I can't change. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. This concept of being defeated is rejected by the Quran, by the religion, and it's rejected by the life that we're living, that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's rejected by the Quran, al-Islam, the Shara, and that, first of all, ikhwan, Allah told us in the Quran, La yukallifu Allahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah does not burden any soul beyond his scope. Allah said in the Quran, وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. Allah has not made any difficulty upon you in your deen. Waking up for Fajr, it is not difficulty upon you in your deen. The proof of it is, you get up and you go to work on time. If you were going to catch a plane to go on a trip, you'll get up on time. But when it comes to salah, oh, it's so difficult, I'm so tired. No, it's not difficult. Making hajj and making the tawaf al-qudum and making the sa'i between Safa and Marwa and going to Muzdalifah and to Arafah and Muna and throwing the jamarat. وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. Allah has not made things difficult for you in your deen. You have the ability to do everything. So Allah has ordered us to follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرِ. You have in Rasulullah a perfect example for the one who believes in Allah on the last day. وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْ فَانْتَهُوا. Whatever he gives you, take it. Whatever he prohibits you from, leave it. And what did he say about his mission? إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمَّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I have been sent to perfect the good character. So it is an obligation upon us to perfect our character where we fall short of the mark. Allah ordered you with that. If you didn't have the ability to do it, Allah wouldn't have ordered you. So I can't do it, it's impossible, I've been doing it. That is rejected by the Quran and the Sunnah. I can't wear hijab because I've been without hijab all my life. Allah will not order you to do something you don't have the ability to do. It's also rejected from the waqi', ikhwan, that we're living in. But before I explain to you how it's rejected from the life that we live in, I want to remind you of being careful of some of the words that come out of our mouths, some of the phrases that we use. It's not permissible for the Muslim to say any and everything. Right now, in the hip-hop culture that is in our homes, the Muslim child, he says to his Muslim brother, "What's up, dog?" They call each other dog, and it means respect and love. Does the Muslim call another Muslim by the name a dog? Does a Muslim refer to himself and say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Those are from the alfaz. Those are from the statements that al-Islam does not allow. Rasulullah didn't allow the people to call Salat al-Isha al-Atama, which is a type of khamr. He said, don't call it that. He didn't like calling the aqiqah because aqiqah comes from the word aqqa, to be disrespectful and disobedient to your parents. If the word had a negative connotation, a meaning, he told the people to stay away from it. Allah said in the Quran about the dog, about the kuffar, فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ إِن تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ يَلْهَثْ أَوْ تَتْرُكُهُ يَلْهَثْ ذَلِكَ مَثَلُ قَوْمِ الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ. The example of the kuffar is like the dog. If you bother him, he'll pant. If you leave him alone, he'll pant. That's the example of those people who disbelieve in the ayat of Allah. سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. If you give him advice, it doesn't benefit him. You leave him, it doesn't. It's all the same. So the dog in our religion is nasty. If you have him in your home, as we mentioned before, ikhwan, your salat will be decreased by a qirat every day. The qirat is the size of Mount Uhud. The dog. He said about the dog, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in an authentic hadith, Al-a'id fi hibatihi kal-a'id fi qay'ihi. The one who gives a gift and then he takes it back is like the dog that vomits and then he licks it up. If you know anything about a dog, many of you are from Pakistan and from Africa, you know about dogs. You would sit in, I have a dog, someone has a dog, there's a new carpet, the dog vomits. Akramakumullah. The one who doesn't know about the dog says, hey, oh, the dog vomit, hurry up. The one who knows about the dog says, no, take it easy, calm down. He knows that the dog is going to get up, he's going to circle the vomit 2-3 times, sniff it, and then lick it clean. That's his nature, because he's filthy. So the one who goes to Umrah, he buys his wife some bangles, or he marries her, he gives her some gold, then they get divorced, he says, give me my gold, give me my... It was her dowry, you're trying to take her back. You're like the dog. A bad example. Don't make sajda like the dog. What's the sajda of the dog? He's the person who makes the sajda and their forearms are on the floor. They make sajda like that. The way the madhab teaches the woman to make sajda. She brings her body together and she comes and she puts her forearms all the way up to her elbows and she's on the floor. Rasulullah said, this is the sajda of the kalb, of the dog. So the dog is nasty in the religion, so we don't say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. The waqi', it disproves that defeated mentality. I lived in Florida. Florida is like a tropical place. The weather is beautiful. In December, January, February, we were still wearing white clothes with sandals, no socks. You go in your backyard, you pull an orange off of your tree and eat it. Florida was hot, beautiful. I saw with my own eyes that Allah put in my head. I saw with my own eyes at the circus a polar bear. The white bear, the polar bear, who comes from the Antarctic. You know your refrigerator down, the freezer. The polar bear lives in there. That's where he lives, in the Antarctic. He lives in the freezer. I saw a polar bear in Florida, in Orlando, riding a bicycle smaller than this member, riding a bicycle. He was a big polar bear riding the bicycle. They changed the akhlaq of the polar bear. They made the polar bear get on his back and he started making the ball go around like that. They take the lion, after changing his akhlaq, they open his mouth and they put their head in his mouth and the people start clapping and he snaps the whip, the lion goes inside of the place. Because they changed the akhlaq of the animal, who it is his natural disposition to be wahshi, to be wild. So you think you can't stop smoking cigarettes? And Allah said in the Quran, لَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We have honored Bani Adam with this intellect. If he puts his mind to it, he can go to the moon. All he has to do is put his mind to it. He can do almost anything he wants to do. Bi-idhnillah. So the religion rejects that. You have the ability to change, but you have to believe it. That's the first thing from our religion. Inna Allah yuhibbu ma'ali al-amur wa yakrahu safsafaha. Allah loves, Rasulullah says sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah loves the high and exalted affairs, and He hates the trivial issues that you preoccupy yourselves with. So you have the ability. Number 2, you want to change your akhlaq? One of the best ways is what we saw with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the role that he played with his companions. You have to look for yourself a sheikh, a muallim, a person who knows this deen, and you respect that individual, and he has taqwa. But you have to have some knowledge of how the scholar should be. Don't take the peer. Don't take the peer. who uses every method by hook or crook. He wants to keep his community ignorant. He'll play on the racism that exists between the community to keep them ignorant and divided. He wants to continue to get the money that you pay when you tell him magic is on you. Okay, just give me the name and write your name on back of your picture and send me the 30 pounds. He wants to keep that money. So he does whatever he can do. No, don't go to those people because they don't love Rasulullah. You're making shirk and kufr. That's how you grew up. He wants you to remain like that. Don't take him as a sheikh. Don't take the individual, akhi, who is mutashaddid, shadid. The way he's dealing with you is with shiddah. I have to share this with you, and you guys have to pay attention to this point so that you can realize the reality of a fitna that we're living in right now. Allah said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَظًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. Ya Muhammad, it is a mercy from Allah that you were patient and you were merciful to these companions. If you were rough and tough with them, they would have dispersed from amongst you. We all heard this ayah so many times, but look how this ayah is important during this time. The companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were the uqala. They were the aqil an-nas. They were the most intelligent people. They were the purest people in heart. Their niyat were the best and the purest. So Allah said to Rasulullah, who was the best human being. Allah said to Rasulullah, who was the best human being, Ya Muhammad, if you, the best human being. So the ayat of the Quran, ikhwan, said to Rasulullah, who is the best of the human beings. Pay attention. Muhammad, you are the best of Allah's creation. If you were rough and tough with these companions, naturally they would have dispersed from amongst you because their uqala, their nature would have made them disperse. So that goes to show, if you find a person or a group of people, a leader, a sheikh who's mutashaddid, unnaturally mutashaddid, unnaturally, I'm not talking about shiddah in its right place, unnaturally. If he sees you coming out of a particular store, he labels you a deviant. If he sees you walking with a particular person, he doesn't give you salams. This is unnaturally mutashaddid. If you see someone like that, and you see other people remaining around them, then there's something wrong with the people's hearts and their minds. Because the natural response to shiddah in its improper place is to back up, like the companions would have backed up. But that's not what we have today. You look for the sheikh, the teacher, the muwajjih, who's shadid, he's going to make your religion difficult upon you. So the person you have to look for is what has been described in the Quran and the Sunnah. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى ما كان لبشر أن يؤتيه الله الكتاب والحكم والنبوة ثم يقول للناس كونوا عبادا لي من دون الله ولكن كونوا ربانيين بما كنتم تعلمون الكتاب وبما كنتم تدرسون. It is not befitting and it is not acceptable for Allah to give a human being the kitab, reveal to him a kitab, and give him hikmah, and give him prophecy, and then that man says, hey you people, worship me, call on me in my grave or other than that, worship me. But instead, be Rabbaniyun. Be a Rabbani because of what you used to learn from the book and because of what you used to teach. That's the kind of teacher you have to look for. A teacher who is Rabbani. Who is the teacher who's Rabbani? How do we know the teacher who's Rabbani? Who is he? Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said that the Rabbani and the Rabbaniyun هم الذين يغذون الناس بالحكمة ويربونهم عليها. The Rabbani, they are those scholars who teach the people and they nurture the people with wisdom and they grow them up based upon wisdom, with wisdom. They know when to be rough, when to be tough, when to be quiet. The father who is Rabbani, the mother who is Rabbani, they know when to be, when not to be, when to boycott, when to send the brother, the uncle to deal with the child. They know how to use wisdom. That is the definition of Ali. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu said that the Rabbaniyun, who are they? Hum al-ulama, al-hukama, al-hulama. They are the scholars who have hikmah and they have hilm. They're easygoing. With a show of hands, ikhwan, and hikmah, can somebody tell me what is hikmah? Can somebody show me or tell me what is hikmah? Can you put your hand up? Someone wants to answer the question. Well, this is only the 6th class that we mentioned hikmah in it. This is only the 6th class. Every single class that I came to you, we said hikmah. Now I know some people are nervous. I know that. That's why in school, a lot of you, when the teacher would ask you, it was the white children who were putting their hands up to answer the questions. But the Muslim children were the ones who were laying back like that. But you did good in the test. But ikhwan, this is our deen. Don't be afraid. Even if you make a mistake, you're not going to go away here and no one's going to be thinking, oh, you made a mistake about hikmah. Somebody please tell me, what is the definition of hikmah? Who knows? I just want to see your hand, just to see who knows. If you really don't know, keep your hand down. Akhi, what is hikmah? What is the definition that we said hikmah was? Can you put your hand up high so that I can see? Can you put your hand up high? This is what I was talking about, ikhwan. The brother all the way who's protecting us at the door. If someone comes into the door, he's going to protect us. What is hikmah?
Wisdom itself. Dalil from Quran and Sunnah.
What do the ulama of al-Islam say al-hikmah is? Hikmah. What's your name, akhi? Because I could tell you know it. You look smart, mashallah. What is hikmah? Hikmah, ikhwan, is putting things in their proper place. Hikmah is putting things in their proper place. Knowing what to say, when to say it, how to say it, who to say it to. Hikmah is you knowing how to deal with your wife. Maybe you should divorce her. Maybe you should get her father involved. Maybe you should get her sister, her brother. Maybe you shouldn't talk to her. Maybe you should ensure her of your love. Hikmah is knowing what to say, when to say, how to say it. Allah is al-Hakim because He puts everything in its proper place. He made you a man the way you are because that's hikmah. He didn't make you a woman. When the person says, I wish I was a man, I wish I was a woman, that's not hikmah. Allah made you the way He is, the way you are, because it's hikmah. Made you poor, made you rich, made you Pakistani, African. He gave you one foot, leg shorter than the other, all from hikmah. Made one eye no good. Gave you a cleft palate. Made one ear good, the other ear not good. Gave you big ears, gave you a big nose. Allah gave you a long neck, so the person doesn't sit and say, why did Allah make me poor and give me all these problems? And that guy over there, look at his situation. Because Allah is al-Hakim. So why is that important for every person sitting here? Why is that important? Because you're living in this life. And your relatives come and they overstay. Hikmah is knowing how to deal with that situation. Hikmah is not saying at your job, they've been over here, they overstayed for 3 weeks now, I'm going and I'm going to open the door and just tell them, get out. That's not hikmah. They're going to call the relatives back home and tell them how bad of a person you come. You don't have any akhlaq. Hikmah. This is only the 6th class, ikhwan, that we gave the definition of hikmah. So I don't know. Is it the water of Birmingham? Is it the chapatis of Birmingham? I'm serious. What is it? Is this knowledge too deep, too heavy? Hikmah that you need and I need? What's your name, little man? What's your name? What's your name? What is hikmah? Hikmah is putting everything in its proper place. So Ali radiallahu anhu said that the Rabbaniyun are the ulama hukama. They have hikmah, hulama. They are easy. They have hilm with the people. Sa'id ibn Jubair, the tabi'i, he said that the Rabbaniyun hum al-ulama al-muallimun al-amilun. They are the ulama who teach and they work by what they know. Like the hadith of the knowledge that we mentioned, the land that takes in the water and then it sends the water out. They teach and they work by what they know. And finally, you have to remember this definition of the Rabbani that was given by Imam al-Bukhari in Sahih al-Bukhari in the kitab of the tafsir of the Quran. And Imam al-Bukhari said that the Rabbaniyun, al-Rabbaniyun, al-Alim al-Rabbani, the scholar who's a Rabbani is the scholar, the person who teaches the small knowledge before the big knowledge. He's a new Muslim. I'm going to teach him about at-Tawheed, the simple aspects of a Tawheed. I'm going to teach him about developing his akhlaq. I'm going to teach him about birr walidain, the importance of sabr. I am not going to teach him about al-jarh wa ta'deel, and he's a brand new Muslim. He's been a Muslim for a long time, but he can come to the class 6 weeks in a row. He's just not used to listening. I mean, he hears, he benefits, but he still can't tell you what hikmah is. So you can't teach him about the high knowledge of usulul fiqh before you teach him the basics of the religion. You have to teach him the easy, small, simple knowledge. Loving Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what you have to teach him. The importance of coming to the masjid. How to read the Quran properly. And Imam al-Bukhari said that the Rabbani is the one who teaches the small knowledge before the big knowledge. I've been a Muslim since I was 22. I'm 40 years old now. 40. There's a Muslim who came into Islam a year ago. When he first met me, he really thought I was from the ulama of Islam. He thought I was from the ulama of al-Islam. I used to tell him, don't go overboard. Don't go overboard in personalities. A year later, he won't give me salams because he said, I'm a deviant. I'm a deviant. A year later, I don't know where he got all that knowledge from, and I don't know what transpired. What happened to me and what happened to him, where I went outside of what is Islamically correct, and he was really established. You know where it comes from, Ikhwan? It comes from him being taught by people who were not taught by the Rabbaniyin. They want to teach him about al-jarh wa ta'deel, and the man doesn't know his ankle bone from his elbow as it relates to the knowledge of Islam. The last point that we have time for, Ikhwan, is if you want to change your character, you take a sheikh. And it's important. There's another point I have to mention as it relates to the sheikh. Al-Imam al-Shafi'i, ikhwan. You know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was the sheikh of the companions. He was the one who said to Hafsa, Ni'ma raju Abdullah lo annu lam yatruku as-salah. Your brother Abdullah is a good man if he just didn't leave the salah. Hafsa told her brother Abdullah, Rasulullah said you're a good man if you just didn't leave the salah. What salah? Salatul tahajjud. Abdullah bin Umar said, I never left the salah after he told me that. The sheikh. Abu Dharr al-Ghaffari said a racist remark to Bilal. Bilal told Rasulullah. Rasulullah said, you're a person who has jahiliyyah in you. He left that. So every time you see Rasulullah telling the companions, don't do this, don't do that, change this, change that, it's the sheikh advising the student. Al-Imam al-Shafi, he had a sheikh by the name of Ibrahim ibn Abi Yahya. Remember this scholar's name. How do you remember? You know Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ali ibn Abi. His name is Ibrahim, name of a prophet, and the last name of the prophet, Ibrahim Yahya. Between that, Ibrahim ibn Abi Yahya, like Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ibrahim ibn Abi Yahya. He was a teacher of Al-Imam al-Shafi, one of the main teachers of Al-Imam al-Shafi. Al-Shafi said, I never benefited from anyone like I benefited from him. My mother was unmarried. He grew up as an orphan, so I didn't have money. So I started working, and it started taking me from the knowledge. This sheikh came, Ibrahim ibn Abi Yahya, and told me stop working because it's going to affect your knowledge. So the sheikh helped him out financially, set him up so that he wouldn't have to work. He said, I never benefited from anyone like him. What's the unique thing about Ibrahim ibn Abi Yahya? This man is the only narrator in a hadith that I know who every single innovation was in him. He was a kadhab in hadith. People said he was a kadhab. He was qadari in his aqeedah. He was murji'i in his aqeedah. He was a Shiite in his aqeedah. He used to curse the Salaf. Everything was in this man. You'll find a man qadari, you'll find a man jabari, you'll find a man murji. But he had everything. Al-Imam Ahmed said about him, اجتمع فيه البلايا كله. All of the fitna was in this man. But he was Al-Imam al-Shafi'i Sheikh, and al-Shafi'i used to defend him. Now the question is, Ikhwan, would someone say Al-Imam al-Shafi'i is a deviant because he's connected to Ibrahim ibn Abi Yahya? Would someone say that Al-Imam al-Shafi'i was Mumayya, he's with the people of Ahwan, Bid'ah, we have to warn against him? Would someone say Al-Imam al-Shafi'i is not on the Sunnah because he made a mistake in this issue? No, those one offer, two offers, they don't put people outside of the Sunnah or Islam. I'm not encouraging anyone to go and learn from someone like that. Not pay attention who you take your deen from. But I'm saying, when people don't know the higher sciences and how to understand them, there's going to be fitna. The second thing, Ikhwan, or the third thing, is you take for yourself a good friend. A good friend who loves you for Allah's sake, and he's going to give to you your mistakes as a gift. As Abdullah ibn Mubarak used to say, rahimahullah ta'ala. Abdullah ibn Mubarak used to make dua for his friends, and he used to say, rahimallahu al-mar ahda ilayya uyubi. May Allah have mercy upon the person who gives to me as a gift my shortcomings. Everyone here, probably our biggest fitna in this dunya is our friends. You want to be a better Muslim. You want to pray. You want to stop doing the things that you do. When you're by yourself, you want to do that. But as soon as you get with those people, that's when you start using that language. That's when you fall into that thing you fall into. Because of your ashab, your astiqa. And everyone here, as I said, has deficiencies. So you have to look at your friend. If you are surrounded by friends or a friend who never ever advises you, you need to start to be suspicious of that relationship. Because no one is perfect from amongst us. Your friend and your friend and your friend, if he's not telling you, ya akhi, I think you were overboard in that issue. Akhi, I think you have to stop talking so much. Akhi, I think you were shadeed with your wife. Ya akhi, I think that you're going to this thing and it's going to harm you. Akhi, I think that you owe the man the money. You were wrong. Give him his money. If you don't have a friend who's telling you that, then you have to be suspicious of the person who's around you. And that's why Yawm al-Qiyamah, our friendships are going to come as a cause of sorrow for us. Al-akhillau yawma idhin ba'duhum li ba'din aduwwun illa al-muttaqin. Yawm al-Qiyamah, the friends will come to each other as enemies except those who have taqwa, those who advise each other for Allah's sake. Those who say to their friend, don't do this, don't do that. Right now, if there was a snake or a scorpion and he was about to crawl, I say, ya akhi, watch it, watch it. The snake, the scorpion is going to sting you. The brother gets up, he stomps the snake and the scorpion, he kills him. He says to me, Jazakallahu khairi akhi, wallahi jazakallah, you saved my life, bi-idhnillah. And every time he sees me, he reminds me, I'm the one who saved his life, bi-idhnillah. Wallahi ikhwan, your uyub, your deficiencies, our shortcomings and our akhlaq, they are more harmful than the snake and scorpion. You get stung by the snake or the scorpion, it is a kafara for you. The Muslim is not pricked in this dunya except it's a kafara for him. Your dhunub and your uyub are more dangerous than the snake and the scorpion. So if the person told you about them, why get mad? Why get mad? There is a situation where we may find one of our brothers, he comes from work, or he doesn't take care of hygiene. He's not hygienically up to par. one of us will smell that individual and not say to him, Ya akhi, ta'al, come here. Purity, purification, cleanliness is from this religion. Rasulullah sat with his companions. They usually had one thobe, one set of clothing made out of wool in the summertime. He came out and he smelt them, sitting there, he smelt them. He said, واجب على كل مسلم أن يغتسل كل 7 أيام يوم يغسل فيه جسده ورأسه. He smelt this repugnant smell. He said it is an obligation upon every Muslim to wash himself, to bathe himself at least once every 7 days. A day in which he cleans his whole body and he washes his hair. That's wajib. That doesn't mean that you wait for 7 days. If you're working out in the desert, you're on an oil rig in the middle of the ocean, you have 7 days. But you have to wash every day. So one of us sees our brothers. If the deen was nasiha, why do we let them remain like that? Why? And you just make qiyas from that situation. You take a brother who is going to be a good friend and who's going to advise you. So we're going to stop there. There are a lot of other ones, but the time just flies by for some reason in Birmingham. I don't know what it is. But if you brothers have any questions, inshallah, we'll take 2 questions and that's it. Any questions? As it relates to the statement, when you were in school, didn't ask questions and things like that. I went to school with some people who come from where you brothers come from, and I saw that they were very shy. They used to not ask questions. And I can't believe that we would sit here, when I say any questions, no one asks questions. Now that would suggest that you understand. But then when I start asking questions, people's heads start bobbling like this. They don't understand what's going on. So why not ask the question? If you understand, don't ask. And if you don't ask, when I ask you, you should answer. So what is it? Naam akhi.
Abu Bakr was the best of the Anbiya. There's narration that if there was a prophet other than after Muhammad,
the brother asked a very intelligent question, tremendously intelligent question, mashallah. Abu Bakr is the best of this ummah after the Anbiya. But the hadith of Rasulullah mentions the Nabi himself, the prophet, a prophet. And he says, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, لو كان نبي بعدي لكان أبو بكر لكان عمر. If there was a Nabi who was going to come after me, it would have been Umar. So that question suggests he would have been like the Anbiya. And if he can't be like the Anbiya, he has to be right under them. So how is Abu Bakr the best? That is an excellent question, akhi. What's your name? You'll give the dars next week, inshallah. Wallahi, that was a good question. That was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam just using that method to raise Umar. And they call that in balagha. Balagha, one of the sciences of the Arabic language, al-ihtiraz. Al-ihtiraz, from al-hirz. Al-ihtiraz, where you say something to make something else appear another way because of its importance, but it is not necessarily the case. It is not necessarily the case. Number one, because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam left his companions to understand that Abu Bakr was better than Umar radiyallahu anhu. Rasulullah left them with that understanding. And that's why when they came to Ali, Muhammad al-Hanafiya, the son of Ali, by other than Fatima, came and asked, Abi, who's the best person after Rasulullah? Ali said, Abu Bakr. He said, then who? He said, then Umar. And then the boy said, and then you, Abi? And then you? And he said, I said that out of fear that he was going to say Uthman. Al-Hanafiya, Muhammad al-Hanafiya said, I said, and then you, Abi? Out of fear he was going to say Uthman. Why was he afraid? Because that's what Rasulullah told people. That's what the companions understood. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman. He said, and then you, Abi, after Umar? He said, Ma ana illa rajul min al-muslimin. I'm just a man from the Muslims. Sahih Bukhari, and the virtues of Ali and the virtues of Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman. And Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said, radiyallahu anhu, we used to, during the time of Rasulullah, consider Abu Bakr the best, and then Umar, and then Uthman. So that's one dalil. As it relates to ihtiraz, who's the best Nabi out of all of the Anbiya? Who? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And yet, the Jew and the Muslim had a disagreement. The Jew said, I swear. The Muslim said, I swear by the one who made Muhammad the best Nabi. The Jew said, I swear by the one who made Musa the best Nabi. And the Muslim slapped him in his face. The Jew went to Rasulullah. Rasulullah came out and said to the Muslims, La tufaddiluni ala Musa. Don't put me above Musa. Because I swear by the one who my soul is in his hands, the horn will be blown and everyone will fall out. Then the horn will be blown again and I'll be the first one to wake up, and I'll find Musa standing, holding on to the throne, holding on to the pillar of the Arsh of Allah. And I don't know if he fell out or if he was exempt because he fell out in the dunya. Does that mean that Musa is better than him? No, al-ihtiraz. It's a way of him putting Musa up at that particular time. They called him Kareem. He said, no, Al-Kareem ibn Kareem, that is Yusuf. Salawatullah wa salamu. So that is al-ihtiraz. That's a good question, akhi. I have to write your name down. I have to remember you. So, ikhwan, we're going to stop here, asking Allah Azza wa Jal to make us students of knowledge, to make us people who come to this class as rijal. Rijal. Rijalun la tulhihim tijaratun wa bay'un an dhikrillah wa iqam as-salah wa ita' az-zakah. The companions, good akhlaq, rijal, rajula, men who they are not prevented by tijara, al-bay' and tijara, from making the dhikr of Allah, establishing the salah, giving the zakat. And from the best dhikr is a class. Rijal, not being afraid to say, what's that? What's this? No, I don't understand it like that. What about that hadith? As for this, I'm sakit. Come on, ikhwan, what is this? Come on, ikhwani. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والسلام